Hmm?
Still going strong.
Yep.
Yeah,
King, how are you?
we're good. You want to sit down and share some of your chatty um, insights on like concept art?
What would you like me to talk about in terms of the concept art?
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if anyone has any questions. So everybody. We have Elijah, who's one of our concept artists, in-house concept artists, incredibly talented. Basically, designed all the hangar stuff today that we've been building. Did the cockpit and interior of the 300, and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Anyone got questions? Anyone on chat got questions?
Oh my God, Idris. When will we get information about Gamescom? I want Destroyer art.
Okay, we need questions for Elijah.
Yes, we get some concept art related questions, gentlemen.
I believe in you, live stream.
Elijah, when can I see my executive hangar?
The executive hangar, I believe that's set for release later this year, but you can't see anything until it's officially released, so I can't help you out with that.
Well, the executive hangar will be definitely in the hangar in Gamescom, but you basically already designed it, I think.
We'll start on preliminary work. Right now, still assisting Forrest with some of the interior props on the Deluxe hangar. And Pirate hangar is pretty much done, just needs a little bit more work. So doing a lot of things simultaneously at the moment.
And then if anyone that's a subscriber to Jump Point, the Jump Point cover was your work
Yes, sir.
this month, so good looking stuff.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, right now, I think today was pretty much system art and some Vanduul stuff that I can't really talk about unless Mr. Roberts wants me to elaborate on it.
I don't know what Vanduul stuff were you working on.
Terraformers.
You didn't even know you were working on Terraformers.
Hey, Elijah, what's been your favorite piece of concept art you've worked on so far?
It's really hard for me to choose because overall I just enjoy design. I really like engineering and architecture, so it's between doing the props that go in the hangars and the hangars themselves, but some of the Vanduul stuff is really nice. I'm enjoying that a lot.
Here's another good question for you is, do you ever see the final design for something you concepted and go, damn, that looks way better than I thought, or damn, that sucks compared to what I drew?
That's an inflammatory question to ask. No, I've seen the discount hangar, and I really like it. I think Forrest and CGBot and the other people that worked on it have done well. I think that Chris Smith really improved on the basic design that I had done for the interior of the 300i, because he specifically asked for like some things not to be designed out because he wanted to add a lot of his own choices to it rather than just take the concept and run with that. He took the concept and he added a lot of his own things, such as the chair, instrument clusters, gauge panels, the rear interior that we discussed the hinge assembly, but almost most of that work was done by himself. It was largely just suggestions by me through drawings. So I think he did an excellent job.
Cool. So basically, you're saying that you're happy with how the work you've done has turned out in the engine.
Yes. Yeah, I think everyone's doing an excellent job.
Right.
Question for concepting: what will the cockpit self-destruct button look like? Oh.
Oh no. Depends on what vehicle it's for. Might be a lever. Could be some sort of a hatch pull assembly. Just pop it. It might not be a button.
Okay, here's a good one. Can you tell us anything about the little vehicle that you can use to get around the hangar?
Nothing that I can describe yet. Still working on how we're going to build that and how that's going to work with the rest of the game. Right now we're focusing on getting the hangars done themselves, and then things such as that come later. Because it's almost a gameplay element when you think about it. How do you design this thing? How do you get it to work? How does the design fit in with the design of the hangar itself? All these things have to complement one another, as well as function in a realistic manner. But we have to add a futuristic flair to it, not only in the visual design, but even in the functionality. And so when I'm doing my design work, I'm always thinking of all those steps ahead, rather than just making things look cool. I'm trying to think, how does this work for players? What can help inspire the modelers to take it a step forward? And how well can they read that so the two of us are on the same page? So like, even something as small as that, it does take a level of planning, all the way from like when design says, hey, we need this, then I start thinking, okay, what do they want? What do we need? And then it goes forward like that. So I can't really talk too much about that because it's still one of those things that we're going through and discussing.
There's one other one from Sophine on the chat roll. She wants to know when we'll see some, or if you've been working on, some female avatar character concept art.
No, I have not. Not just... No.
Yeah, but Rob McKinnon's doing a lot of our character stuff, and we actually have some female stuff that he's done. We may not have. I'm not sure if we released it, but we definitely have female designs, and that's actually one of the next things that we're going to be working on is the base female character.
Yeah, I don't really do very much character work. I might work on armors at some point in the future, but right now I'm just focused on doing architecture, and then in some of my own time, I try to work on the project continuously so that we're staying at least within schedule, and I try to stay ahead of schedule. And right now, doing character work isn't a part of my schedule. Lots of hard surface stuff, vehicles, machines, and architecture.
Mind if I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely. Ask a question. Go ahead.
So, what's the most difficult part for you? Like, what's the worst? Is it like trying to think of the initial concept for it, or is it?
Well, it's trying to think how the design works within the game itself. Like, because as I said earlier, that I think of all those different steps. Like, one, how does it function for gameplay? How does it function visually? And tie those things together. So a good example would be the Terraformers. I can't show those, but I can describe it in a way that, because of the way that it would be built, I'm trying to figure out how that translates into the Vanduul design language. Lots of plates, lots of spikes, and horn-looking bits that are mechanical, that sort of flare out almost as if they were air brakes, but they're not necessarily. How do you get something that's large and mechanized to work with a thin-plated design language? So like that's sort of one of the things is like going within a framework that exists. Where with the hangars, because I have a level of familiarity when it comes to architecture, with that there's sort of this free range where the designers give me their description of, okay, it needs to house this many vehicles, here are sort of the combinations of the vehicles, and that's a process where we're going back and forth. Where right now, the Vanduul stuff is just me going off sort of on my own tangent within a framework. So as far as questions like that, I'm still having to wait to ask those questions that's sort of off topic, or like during lunch, like, hey, what about this? What about this? So I'd say sort of like working ahead on things that aren't in the immediate schedule, I guess, are kind of more difficult because I'm trying to figure out a lot of those problems on my own.
Would you say that the Vanduul have the most unique style as far as the concept art that you're doing, or is there another one that you would think has just a very different style in comparison to the rest?
I'd say the three alien races, each one of them are unique. I haven't done anything for the Banu, but I've been talking with Rob and Chris O about some stuff for the Zion. That's going to be pretty cool and a nice, interesting challenge. So I can't really say that any one of them is more unique than the other ones.
When you start with a concept, do you start like old school with pen and paper, or do you just go right to the computer and start sketching with some kind of application?
It depends kind of on what I think would be the best way to approach it. Usually it always starts with pen or pencil and paper.
Okay.
Just because it's a nice, familiar, like sort of fluid connection when it's traditional media. When I first came here, I was doing most of it was pen and paper, and I would scan it, and then I got tired of scanning my work. And they were nice enough to give me a Cintiq, and I've gotten used to that since. So sometimes I'll just sketch on that.
Right.
Just depends really on the design itself, how familiar I am with it. Like a lot of the times with the hangars, I'm not even doing anything rough. I'm just jumping in really quick, and I'm able to get it after, say, the first 4 or 5 designs for the Deluxe or the discount. I've got the visual language already settled, and we're moving on. So then I pretty much know, okay, this is what I want, and then I just keep going from there.
So as far as the hangars, what was your favorite design?
So far, the Deluxe has been my favorite design. One, because of the size of it, and because...
Deluxe is the one that fits the Constellation, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the Deluxe is the coolest one.
Yeah, that's another reason, is because the Constellation's going to be in there, and tried to design the language of the hangar itself sort of around that, something that would fit it. So the color scheme is really nice to work with, and the overall way that it's built, sort of, I don't know, like an industrialized Mass Effect. It's hard to describe, but I think players are really going to enjoy that hangar a lot when they get it. The other hangars are good, and I think that Forrest and CGBot and the other people who have worked on them have done an incredible job, but I'm really excited to see the Deluxe finished out.
So just to clarify, how many levels of hangars are there? Like, what's the, how's it
Well, there's,
laid out?
as far as right now, there's 5 different hangars based on your pledge level. So there's...
No, we're just saying basically David Prescott's doing a white box of the Deluxe.
Oh, nice.
I actually got a quick look at it. It's quite the impressive hangar.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun working on it, which there's still a little bit of work that needs to be done, but it's pretty much there.
I remember seeing, God, it was like a lounge area almost that he was working on. Or kind of just...
Yeah, they'll definitely be kind of a loungy area and a bit more. It's like a big executive hangar.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really nice look to it, especially like some of the designs that he was working on the back, the generators and whatnot. It's just very industrial look.
Yeah, it's a really fun hangar. I think the players will enjoy it a lot.
What's going to be the difference? You said there's 5 different hangars.
Yeah.
What are the main differences?
Well, there's of course how many ships it can house. There's storage differences. There are important lighting differences too, texture differences, all these little things that make each hangar unique. So it'd be kind of interesting to see how the players are going to react, the people who have different ones. Some people might like the grungy sort of Blade Runner feel of the discount hangar compared to the Deluxe.
Right.
And I don't know. It's just gonna be strange, but also cool to see how people feel about each different one. So yeah, storage, ship storage of upgrade parts, amenities, things like socialization or private security, I think, are also upgrades that you can add to the hangars that are based on your pledge level. And the rest I'm not sure. I know that there are going to be other hangars, not just these, that are inside the Star Citizen universe. Things that are on, not really Armitage because it's abandoned, but Spider has some of its own hangars. There's going to be plenty of hangars that people are able.
We're going to do a big sort of guild style hangar that you can fit a bunch of ships in.
Awesome.
The aesthetics will change if you visit an alien world and such.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether you'll be able to like rent a hangar on a genre world, but certainly like when you're on the landing area and stuff, it's gonna be.
Chris, when you first started talking about Star Citizen, people were asking about residents. You were saying something about possibly renting like apartment space, and then later they started talking about hangars and stuff. So is the hangar going to be the living quarters that people have been asking for, or is there still apartments?
You basically you have your hangar, but you'll be able to sort of get some other real estate. So like exactly a penthouse apartment will cost you a bit more cash, but then you can keep your trinkets in it, and it's basically just like a little bit of space that you'll have on a planet, and you may be able to buy it on multiple locations.
Okay, so the hangars never completely took over the idea of possible apartments then?
No, that's definitely it's in the game. So you can buy something like your apartment, or you can get an additional hangar or something like that. So we're getting pretty close to running the 300i director's cut.
Yeah.
Close to the Starfarer.
All right.
We are inching our way away. We've got we basically
Got the director's cut for the.
If someone were to ask you, what is speed? What would you tell them? Is it simply a measure of distance covered over time? The magnitude of velocity? Or is it something more? At origin, speed is more than a number. It's a state of being. Speed is a shock to the soul. Speed is a call to action. Speed is introducing the 2943 300i from Origin Jumpworks.
In those particular cases, as long as you can verify it and know someone's gaming the system, I'm okay with not having someone screwed in that situation.
I was going to pull
Even-
timestamps.
even if it
We're back.
even if it involves having a couple of extra.
Yeah, I was going to pull the timestamps for when they melted
It's
stuff. It was
Black
legit.
Widow company.
Yeah, I don't mind in that case because it's not.
melting and gave up.
They're here for communicating with us.
I was just commenting on the avatar more than the who is that.
Oh.
Are they ready and queued on 305 director's cut, which will be the
We
advanced
played.
Are we back?
Or so I've been told.
Oh, we're live? Oh, okay. Hi, everybody.
Back again.
All this time.
I didn't get to see it, but I'm sure it was
It's not
awesome.
going very well. They were almost in there for a second. So when you walk up. In the morning. I didn't know that.
We run it on the hour, so you still got a few minutes left. But.
No.
They run. They ran something.
Yeah,
Yeah, we ran it.
it already played.
What?
Probably not.
Yep.
Yeah, we ran it.
You meant to run it at 3 our time, 5 your time. It's not 3 yet.
Oh, well,
Um,
that was a decision that was not mine.
I'm not in charge here.
That was all behind the scenes person, dude.
What part of the conversation did it cover up?
I don't know.
I don't know, but we're gonna run it on the hour because that's what we promised.
Okay.
There you go.
Apparently we have to rerun.
The problem is we were covering up the screen.
We have it set up so we can see it.
Yeah,
we just. Oh.
Oh,
There
So
we
it
go.
should play up on that other screen.
yeah.
Gets more.
But anyway, had to get some ACDC. I saw his request. Yeah, that would be cool, except for unfortunately we don't. The music license publishing rights for that are extremely expensive. I think we had actually a kind of a different commercial that was what was the one we asked about? What was it?
The track you mean?
Yeah, Wild Thing. It was Wild Thing. So Wild Thing, $100,000 for us to, and this is just the music publishing rights. So like if you have licensed music, there's two things you've got to get. You've got to get the publishing rights, which is basically the person that wrote the song or whatever. And then you've also got to get the rights from the person who performed the song. And just for the publishing rights for Wild Thing, which was by the Trogs or whatever, because we weren't even going for the Jimi Hendrix one.
We actually had the cover.
We were going to go for the cover version, was $100,000 from,
Just for the
I can't remember who it was from. It was one of the major.
Sony.
Sony. They wanted $100,000, even though like we're going to play it for an
One
in fiction on the web for our stuff.
$1,000 and a free 300i.
Yeah, I mean, nuts.
2 Idrises. Open the Idris back up.
Okay, so
Wild thing.
All right. It's 5 now, so we're gonna run the thingy for real.
you are going to run. I am mute your side.
All right.
If someone were to ask you, what is speed? What would you tell them? Is it simply a measure of distance covered over time? The magnitude of velocity? Or is it something more? At origin, speed is more than a number. It's a state of being. Speed is a shock to the soul. Speed is a call to action. Speed is introducing the 2943 300i from Origin Jumpworks.
You hear us?
Wow.
There we go. Nice. Pretty damn good. Cool.
Oh, there we go. Anyway, that was the 300i director's cut, which had some nice Easter eggs. If you guys appreciate the nod to Wing Commander 3, those that played it out there. Or are you still? Everyone's dead, Austin.
We saw it. It was
Yeah, it looks good.
too much for a tired person's words.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, those are all. That's all the game assets, all the game animations. So that's like how you actually sit down into the cockpit and all the rest of stuff. So, it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, at the beginning of the director's cut, when they had that quick shot of the pilot's chair, it reminded me of that a little bit of the brochure where they describe exactly how that works for a more comfortable ride. I like those little details in the text. Yeah, they really help bring it home.
Cool. What are we at counter-wise? Are we close to Starfarer?
Let's
Inching towards it.
Do we have a post set up for it already?
Post is in there,
With
yeah.
Assets.
Yep, it has the images. And we have them ready to show on the stream. So.
Alright.
Yeah, basically, I think we're about just over $5,000 away.
Yep.
Starfarer.
Makes you want to cheat a little bit.
Yeah, no, we've got to hold out to it. We can't be, we gotta.
Just stand by your.
It's like, it's stand by the principles. It's like you blink, and there's like $250,000 gone, and then like the next 20,000. I guess it's basically. I mean, we can put a few Corvettes on to get over that.
That is
cheating.
Corvettes.
Yeah,
Just the European IP stuff.
Just to grease the wheels a bit.
Yeah, it's like, it's just that the fire's going cold. You're like, instead of putting another log on the fire, like, put another Corvette on the fire.
Obstacle course.
Yeah. Obstacle course.
That's
Well, you're used to it. You're used to it, aren't you?
dealership.
No, we can't do that. Well, first of all, you can't. You gotta keep them scared. We can't have that many of them in the game. You don't want like everyone rolling like these Corvettes. It's like, I mean, the Constellation is 1.3 million poly. So just imagine what the Corvette's going to be. Probably about 2.5 to 3, I would think.
Probably be a small fleet in one of the freighters, just representing the ship.
Yes, no, it definitely would be. So we'll wait. We'll grind it out. So European friends, wake up and get us over the inches over the line. I think.
Get us over the hump.
They are good.
And file more tickets.
They are good.
But yes, they are definitely good. But